Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. Today I have a really exciting video for you. I'm going to be showing you 4 different freezer meals that you can prep ahead of time and store in your deep freezer for those days when you just don't feel like cooking dinner, but you want to have something nutritious and good and homemade prepared for your family. So if you're interested in that, please stay tuned and make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe on this video and keep on watching. Alright guys, so the 4 meals that I'm going to be preparing for you today is going to be a chicken broccoli and rice dish, a taco casserole, a shepherd's pie, and a baked ziti. The most important thing when you're meal prepping like this is to prep your food in big batches. So I've already portioned out how much rice I'm going to need for the 2 dishes that include rice, and I'm going to get that started on my stovetop. Don't worry, I will have the recipes for all of these meals down below for you, but you're definitely going to want to make sure that you get your oven preheated and you get all of your pans and your saute pans prepared to cook your protein in batches, because that's going to take the longest, and you're going to want to make sure that you get that done as soon as possible to save the most time. I'm just using this bagged chicken tenderloins from Costco, but feel free to use like fresh chicken breasts or chicken thighs if that's something that you like. I'm gonna chop up an entire onion here, and I actually chopped up 2 onions, but again, I'll include the recipe down below for you guys, but I just wanted to make sure that I gave you an overall idea of how I prepped everything. My ground beef is gonna be another one that I kind of make in a large batch, even though I split it in 2 at the end to separate the dishes. So I'm just gonna make sure that I saute up onion, tons of garlic here. And another tip, whenever I'm making dishes like this, I'm going to be cooking ground beef for both my shepherd's pie and my baked ziti. They're gonna have separate spices, so while I'm browning the beef, I don't season it with anything. I'm just gonna brown everything, I'll drain the fat, and then I'm gonna separate the ground beef mixture, and I'll bring them back to the pans and season them once I have everything cooked. Alright, so my rice is all finished, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that from the heat and add it to my dishes as the recipes call for. I'm going to start off with the taco casserole, and this recipe calls for 2 zucchinis chopped up, 4 cans of rotel, 4 cans of black beans, and I'm just going to want to stir all of this together. And then you're going to want to go ahead and add in your rice. The recipe calls for 8 cups of cooked rice. The reason why it doesn't look like I'm adding so much to the pan, guys, is because I'm making these batches in 2. There's no way I'm going to be able to fit in 4 cans of rotel and 4 cans of black beans and 8 cups of rice into my skillet here. So I did make this in 2 separate batches on my stovetop just because I didn't have enough space. So don't look at this and think like, wow, that was not 8 cups of rice. I know, girl, I know. I made my own chicken broth here, and I will have a separate link down below for you guys on how I made that in my crock pot. But that's just to give it extra moisture. And then I go ahead and put them all into these pans that I order on Amazon, and I'll have my freezer meal prep pans listed down below for you guys. But I go ahead and top this taco casserole with some cheese, the Mexican shredded blend of cheese, and that's how my Mexican casserole ended up looking, and it looks delicious. And I do write out the recipe, how to reheat this and how to thaw it on top of the storage container lid, so that way if I'm gifting this to other people, because sometimes I do gift freezer meals to like new moms or people who have surgery or things like that, they'll know exactly what to do and how to reheat this. I do like to cover them with tinfoil first and then put the lids on. I find that it just lasts better, and it also reheats a lot better, and it stays fresher longer when you cover them with tinfoil first and then put the lid on. So moving right along to my shepherd's pie mix, this recipe calls for 3 pounds of ground beef, 2 bags of frozen vegetables, and this is just the carrots, corn, and green beans mixture. And the recipe does call for Worcestershire, but I don't have any, so I'm just supplementing it with a little bit of soy sauce, and I'm adding all of my seasonings here. And again, I'll have this listed all down below so you guys don't have to guess like what seasonings to add in. I never measure seasonings at all. Like, I really don't know how I know when to stop seasoning. It's just a gift, I guess. I just season until I feel like it doesn't need any more seasoning. I'm gonna add some of my chicken stock here, and then I'm adding in a few tablespoons of flour, and I'm going to stir that together here to kind of create a little bit of a roux. And this is just gonna thicken everything together and kind of give it like a gravy consistency. Just makes it thicker and less runny. Now I know that you should not freeze real potatoes because I've heard over and over again that freezing real potatoes, it makes them really grainy and they just don't reheat well. I'm using instant mashed potatoes, and I have never had a problem with reheating my frozen shepherd's pie when I use frozen mashed potatoes. I know frozen mashed potatoes instant mashed potatoes are not as tasty as real mashed potatoes. However, I don't mind these because I season them really well, and then I do top this with cheese anyways, and I feel like this reheats really well, and I don't have to worry about any grittiness from any real mashed potatoes. So that's just a little tip for you guys. Don't use real potatoes, just use the instant if you don't want to worry about it tasting funny. Moving on to the baked ziti recipe. This recipe calls for 2 boxes of baked ziti. However, this was way too much noodles. Like, I would definitely use 1 box for 2 recipes, if that makes sense, because I don't know about you guys, but I prefer more sauce to my noodle dishes and less noodles. And I feel like this just gave me way too much noodles and not enough sauce. And when I reheated one of these meals, I found that I had to add a bunch more sauce to my liking. So let me know in the comments down below, guys, are you more of a sauce person when it comes to pasta, or do you actually enjoy a less saucier dish with your pasta? Let me know down below, because I might just be weird. Anytime I reheat any kind of spaghetti or anything, I find that I have to add more pasta sauce. Like, the saucier, the better. But I really love this baked ziti recipe because it calls for cream cheese and fresh basil blended in with the actual noodles, and I just feel like this makes the dish so creamy, so delicious, and the basil just really gives it a nice pack and punch of flavor, which I love. I realized when I was putting this together that I actually didn't show myself actually arranging everything. So what you're going to see here is me making the noodles, but just imagine me having my tin pan, and all I'm going to do is layer a little bit of the meat sauce that I have down, then some ricotta cheese and some shredded mozzarella, a little bit of noodles, and then I just keep repeating that like lasagna layer. And I'm really sorry that I don't have a clip for you guys on how to do that, but this recipe is super easy, and again, I'll have it listed down below for you. Holy broccoli heaven. I really did not think that I was going to love this recipe, you guys. I found it on Pinterest and it just looked really easy, almost too easy, and I wasn't sure how it was going to all blend together, but honestly, this was one of my favorite meals. My husband really liked it, and I actually got my daughter to eat a couple bites of it, which is huge. Recipe's super easy. It literally just calls for rice, broccoli, and 4 cans of this cream of chicken soup and 2 cans of cream of mushroom soup. 2 cans of cream of chicken and 2 cans of cream of mushroom mixed all together. It is so good. It is so flavorful. It reheats so well. It looked really dry when I was mixing it together, so I was kind of worried after adding all the rice, but it was so delicious, and this was definitely one of my favorite recipes that I made. So I definitely recommend you guys checking, if none of them out, this one for sure. It'll surprise you, and it's so easy. Honestly, this was the biggest deep freezer meal stash that I've ever made. Let me know in the comments down below if you guys have ever meal prepped like this, or if this is something that you guys do for your families. I'm really curious to know if anybody else actually ever does this. I always see people meal prepping these huge freezer meals on Pinterest, but I'm always curious if people actually do this in real life. Even though it only took me about 4.5 hours to do this, I still feel like I was so tired after. But I have had dinner for like a couple weeks now whenever I didn't feel like cooking. So it's been really nice, especially with having the new baby. I was able to gift some of these dinners to my sister-in-law who had a baby, and I've had dinners on days when I just didn't feel like cooking. So they have come through in the clutch. One thing I will say about all of these meals is that they are really carb heavy. I am breastfeeding right now and I'm not really following a really strict diet. So that's why you're going to see like a lot of cheese, a lot of carbs like rice, and like mashed potatoes and things like that. If you're interested in a healthier version of like deep freezer meals, like let me know in the comments down below, because I definitely have a ton of keto friendly meals, or like lower carb meals, or just less refined carbs, I guess you can say, meals in my Pinterest book that I would definitely love to film for you guys and just show you the different recipes that I love. So let me know down below if that's something that you're interested in. But in the meantime, enjoy this carb heavy meal prep video because I love it. My family loves it. Your family will love it too. And hey, it's the holiday season, so who doesn't love a little bit of extra carbs? Overall, I had a lot of fun preparing all of these meals. I really enjoy cooking, and I just felt like all of the recipes were super easy to follow, and I didn't feel really overwhelmed at all. So that's it for this video today, guys. I hope that you enjoyed everything. If you did, please make sure that you give it a thumbs up. Comment down below your favorite recipe that you're going to try. And if you're new here, I hope that you consider subscribing. Bye.